Hey guys, what's good, what's happening, and what's going on? Welcome to yet another episode of Commenting on Comments. Today we're going to comment on comments that you've commented on previous videos. If you've been to this before, you know how it goes, and if you haven't, sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, enjoy the show. Alright guys, let's get on to our first comment. Our first comment is from Bill's T Max, and he says, some old battery info for my friend. A 12-volt battery can become sulfate when lead sulfate crystals build up on the battery plates. Batteries produce lead sulfate when they discharge, but it should be converted back to lead during charging. Sulfation can occur when a battery is left unused or stored for long periods of time, or it is undercharged, overcharged, or short-cycled. I'm thinking undercharged and left for a long period of time is why the battery on the Ford F-150 was no longer holding full potential. Like, it was fine in the summer. It still didn't start like it does now. Like, with that brand new battery in there, it reminds me of 2017 when I bought the truck that, you crank it over and bam, boom, fires right up. Even during the summer, I would fire it up and be like, rah, 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 you know. Yeah, in 2020, 2021, I didn't really drive much. It wasn't until 2022 when I started driving more. I had to go back to the office and all that. But during COVID, it's like we weren't allowed to go anywhere. So I didn't use the truck, and that happened in the winter. So the battery pretty much, yeah, it killed itself. Mike Deshane 3919 says, I will say some women don't like being called ma'am. I know my wife gets upset when she is referred to as ma'am. She said it makes her feel like she's an old lady. Hopefully that woman's reaction was caused by something as simple as that, although that is quite the overreaction. But this day and age, everyone seems easy to upset. I always call people ma'am. Because I don't know, like for a woman, it's like, hey you, that sounds kind of aggressive in this day and age, right? Or just saying excuse me and they get upset, like what do you want, you know? So it's like, I figured out, I was like, hey ma'am, and she just freaked out. And this is about the video where I got the battery replaced. I went to Canadian Tire to buy a new battery, and on my way out, I saw a lady walk into her car and she was like at her driver door, and I noticed her front passenger side tire was like, the rim was literally sitting on the ground, like the tire was flat. And I wanted to let her, like she was already at Canadian Tire. Like she literally could have got the tire fixed right there. The shop was still open, the garage was still open. She could have went inside and said, I got a flat tire, and probably somebody would have came out and patched it if it was just a puncture, patched it right in the friggin' parking lot for her. But no. She thought I had other intentions, I guess, in a public parking lot while I'm carrying a 30 to 50 pound battery. I don't know how much batteries weigh, but I'm carrying this freaking battery back to my truck. I noticed that I try to help her out and she loses her shit on me, and I'm like, okay, whatever. She'll figure it out when she goes to drive and hears ba-doom, 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 unless she turns her music up so loud that she just drowns that sound out. Who knows? Maybe she drove there on the flat tire to begin with. I don't know. E.H.XYZ says, man, I feel bad for you that lady acted that like that. That would honestly really upset me, and it did. It upset me. 20 years ago, before the internet, people actually communicated kindly. Nobody talks anymore. It's all text messages. Really hard for me to be around people anymore. And that's my problem too, is I have a hard time wanting to go out. I remember in like 2017, 2018, I was looking forward to Friday nights to go out to the pool hall, hang out with my friends, meet new people, and just socialize. And nowadays, I just don't want to. I gotta like build up the want to leave my house to go out and hang out. Like, I don't mind going out and going fishing because I'm by myself. I'm not gonna be interrupted by anybody. Nobody's gonna bother me. I'm gonna be out there fishing, having a good time. But to go to like a public setting where there's a bunch of strangers, I really gotta push to do that. I don't know if it's like a sudden onset of social anxiety due to the way society's become or what the case may be. But yeah, it's like you try to help someone out, they lose their shit on you. It really teaches you to be like, you know what, just mind your own business. Don't help anybody out. Let them figure it out for themselves, because in the end, is it really worth it? Jessica 2379 says, I am not offended by people's help. I actually have a story. See, there's some people who actually like people's help. The problem is they won't get it because of the reaction of the lady from that video. All it takes is one bad encounter and it kind of puts you off wanting to be a good Samaritan. Years ago, we were coming back from Toronto and we were in rush hour traffic. Oh God, I hate rush hour traffic on 400, 401. Oh, it's so bad. Far left lane, this guy pulled up beside us in the emergency lane. the emergency lane. I think that might be a carpool lane now, but anyway. Rolled down his window and said, "Your car is smoking." Oh, that's not good. So we pulled over. At first, she was like, "I'm going to try to get off the next exit to get to a gas station and call for help there." When she started the car again, my mom realized that we lost our brakes because the pedal went to the floor. Oh boy, that's not fun. At least, you were already stopped when you realized that, because if you would have been moving and some jerk cut you off on the rush hour traffic, because let me tell you, getting cut off on the 401, that's a common occurrence. And you went to apply the brakes and there was nothing there and you just like matted the brakes, that's a scary situation. Fight or flight really comes into effect. The guy stayed with us till the tow truck came. My mom calls our amazing mechanic. He stays past closing and waits for us. Even better, he took us home in his truck. The end. Well, that's actually really awesome. I know a lot of mechanics that probably would if you're a good person. Like if you treat them right, you pay your bill, they know you're a good customer, they will be there for you. But then there's a lot of shops that are like, "Hey, I'm open 9 to 5, you show up at 5:01, bye-bye, right?" But no, yeah, like this is the only reason why living down south never interested me. Like I contemplated about moving to London in the past, and I did again recently. Like I love London. London's a great city. There's tons to do there, tons of shopping, tons of everything. Cost of living there versus North Bay is pretty much on par. I priced out houses down there and stuff and looked into it. As far as my job goes, I could always transfer to a different department within the organization. And with work from home, you can basically work from anywhere. As long as you have internet, you can work from anywhere. And reliable internet, not just like some potato DSL on some no-name company that gives you 3 megabits. Like you have to have good internet, reliable internet, good power coming to your house. You can't be living in a zone where you get power failures. And I honestly thought about moving to London until I started driving around there and I was like, holy shit, traffic is nuts. I'll stick to my little town and I'll just go there and visit. Because when I go there, it's great. Bloke drives because he knows where everything is. So why should I be the one driving when I'm new? And Bloke's like, he knows all the shortcuts. He knows all the roads. He knows, okay, we got to get over here. We're just going to go this way. And all of a sudden we're there quicker and we dodge a bunch of traffic. Where for me, I would be relying on Google to get me to where I need to be. And it would just take me down busy routes, probably through construction and a lot of nonsense. But yeah, rush hour. No thanks. Justin4N6 says, I'm on the 3rd battery of my 2016 Silverado. I have a battery tender for it now since it only gets driven once a week. Might be worth looking into getting one for yours. Mine is hardwired, installed a plug-in for it next to my tow hook. That's not a bad idea. And actually, I was contemplating on doing either that or doing like a solar panel, like one of those, 10-watt solar panels, and putting it on the dash of my truck. Now the problem is obviously in the winter with snow covering the windshield, there'd be no solar radiation getting in there to hit it and trickle charge it. And putting it on like the roof of the topper, once again, snow. And we've been getting hammered with a lot of snow lately. We've just been getting the dose. Probably doesn't show in the videos, guys. That's because the videos, I'm actually good now till Christmas Day. I'm that far ahead. I've been kind of slacking on making new videos for that reason, that the content wouldn't be valid, but we got a lot of snow now. This winter is nothing like last winter. We're probably gonna get some ice fishing in. The lake is freezing. 2CV Bloke says, they say the right way to reconnect the battery is positive first, then negative. Not sure why, because the claim is it reduces the chance of shorting out things on the body or other metalwork. But unless your wiring is bare copper from bad maintenance, I don't see how that could happen. And that's the thing. I don't see how that could happen either. If you hook up the positive terminal first and then the negative, you're not going to have a short because the negative, the lead comes off and goes and grounds the chassis, right? And if you hook up the positive, so if you hook up the negative first, okay, now your chassis is grounded, but there's nothing connected to the positive terminal yet. So then you hook up your positive terminal. Now, unless you have, like, it doesn't make sense in what orientation. I don't think there is a proper orientation. I don't think it really matters. I think if you're adding extra wires, like if you're running, say, lights in your cabin, like you want to put neon lights in there for mood lighting in your vehicle, sure. I could see that being a potential problem, where if you're running it to the battery instead of going through a fused relay, and then you, even then, I can't even see how you'd short it. I don't know. There's probably no real proper way. It's probably just some people have their way and then other people have their way. And there's only two ways to do it. Either positive first or negative first. Jetwash F8, the hunting gamer. Holy crap, bud. Could you have picked a longer name? I'm just kidding with you. Take it easy. Holy crap. And if she's really easy, take it twice. Once a year, women worldwide go crazy for 365 days. Okay. I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for it. Hey, some women are fine, but others, holy crap, holy crap. The Universal Eyes says, yes, don't mess around. A new battery is always a good thing. Besides, when your battery is dead, it will cause alternator to draw more amperage, which will fry it. Gotta love the snow. Last weekend, we got 4 feet in 36 hours. Supposed to get another possible foot starting tomorrow night. At least it's not minus 30 below yet. I'm wondering, Universal Eyes, if you are Canadian and living in the Muskoka region. I just came back, 2 weeks ago from a martial arts, was it 2 weeks ago? Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. From a martial arts conference in Cambridge. I went through a place called Gravenhurst. On my way down on Friday, it was the first time I ever had to engage 4x4 on the highway. I had it in two-wheel drive. I'm driving along in the GoPro footage. I did film this. It's coming out later on. I think it's coming out on the 20th or something. The GoPro footage doesn't do it any justice. I'm driving through. I can't see the highway. On the video, I'm looking at the video. The GoPro can see way better than I can. It can see the road. It can see everything. It doesn't see what I saw. What I saw was I couldn't tell where the road was. I've discovered rumble strips work through the snow, and I couldn't tell where the highway was because it wasn't plowed. It was thick, and I was in two-wheel drive. So every once in a while, the ass end, one tire would spin free, and the truck would start to turn. And now I'm aiming towards an embankment. Then I got to correct myself. I was like, screw that, and I put her in 4x4, and that's also when I discovered that in four-wheel drive, I thought you could only do 80 kilometers an hour in four-wheel drive. Apparently, you can go whatever speed you want in four-wheel drive, but four-wheel drive will not engage if you're going over 80 kilometers an hour, which is 55 miles an hour for my friends and fans and viewers in the Americas. 55 miles an hour is 80 kilometers an hour. I thought the rule was you couldn't exceed 80 kilometers an hour. It just turns out that if you decide you can drive at 120 kilometers an hour in 4x4, either A, you don't need it, or B, you're crazy. That was the first time. And it was such a weird situation too, because I'm driving down, and this you can see in the video. I'm driving down, it's bare asphalt, and all of a sudden, like a line of snow. It's like I traveled through a different biome in Minecraft. And it was just like snow belt, and this is why they call it the snow belt. And it was brutal all the way through Gravenhurst. I ended up stopping in Gravenhurst, fueling up the truck, and then tearing off again. And as soon as I got halfway through Barrie, it was like another line where the snow stopped and bare asphalt appeared. But I was so friggin' like stirred up because like I almost wrecked 3 times before I was like, yeah, 4x4, let's use it. We have it, let's use it. Fort Erie Rocks asks, does your truck have a block heater? Makes big difference starting in the cold. Yes, it does have a block heater, but the thing is in the past 7 years, I've never, ever used it. Why? I don't know. Somebody told me like when you start using it, you always have to use it. If you never use it, then your truck won't care. As long as you have a good battery, which I do now, and you should be able to start your truck in whatever temperature. But we'll find out. We'll find out about that one. American Jackknife says, Adam, please elaborate on the I can't find a doctor statement for those of us in the United States. Okay, now this might only apply to Ontario. I can't speak of all of Canada. But here in Ontario, our premier wants to basically make what you guys have in the US, where you pay, well, you go to the hospital and you pay out the ass. They bill you like whatever. Like when my appendix exploded in 2022, that probably would have cost me upwards of 10 grand for the amount of time I stayed there and all that. However, we have a thing in Ontario called OHIP, the Ontario Health Insurance Plan, where that comes off of our income tax. So we don't pay for our hospital visits. We do pay for ambulance transport, but we don't pay for our hospital visits. If you get hospitalized, it's all covered by the taxes. What the government wants to do is make privatized hospital where doctors can go and start doing like in the US, billing you, but you get priority service. Now, because of this, there's a lot of doctors that are like, they're getting their degree, but they're not moving to the north. I'm sure down south, maybe down south, they don't have a problem finding a family doctor. And that's what I'm talking about when I say I can't find a doctor. I can't find a family doctor. So if I need a prescription, I either have to contact a clinic or go to a walk-in clinic, wait there for God knows how long until I can see a specialist, have them prescribe me the medication so I can go get it. Before, I could just call my doctor and be like, hey doc, I need a refill on whatever. Like I'm not on any prescription drugs, which is awesome because if I was, that'd be a problem. Like my dad, he's on prescription drugs. My mom, she's on prescription drugs. Our doctor retired and didn't tell anybody that he was retired. He didn't forward our information on to any other doctors to see if we can get a family doctor with someone else. He just like, well, I'm done. And he quit. Took his retirement and bounced. Awesome. That's amazing. So I don't know about the rest of Canada and how it is. Like I know I have some Canadians watching from BC, some from Saskatchewan, some from the East Coast. I don't know how it is there, but in Ontario, they want to do privatized hospital. And sometimes when you go to the actual hospital, like I haven't been there since my appendix exploded, thank God. I've had friends go to the hospital and they've sat in the waiting room upwards 15 hours waiting to get admitted to get treated, unless they were sent there or they were scheduled to go. Like if they were scheduled to be here for 11 o'clock for an x-ray and they showed up, they were brought in right away because they're already on the list. But if you just walk in with a problem, triage mode kicks in. So they'll prioritize your visit based on how bad you are. If you're dying, chances are they're going to get you in quicker. If you're going in because you broke your leg, you know what? That's not life-threatening. They can hold off on you and deal with other patients. But during that time, if somebody comes in with a higher priority than you, like somebody overdosing, for instance, they get pushed to the top and treated, and you're still waiting for your turn. And that's what happens to a lot of friends of mine that go to the hospital on unscheduled. Basically, they go in there because something's wrong, or, you know, a lot of my friends, like their kids will get sick and they don't know if it's just the flu that's really bad or if they got something else. So they bring their kid to the hospital and they're waiting in the waiting room with their kid for like anywhere from 8 to 13 hours before they're actually seen. And the doctor's just like, take some Tylenol, you'll be fine. But if they had a family doctor, they could get in there, get looked at quicker, and be told the same results. But trying to find a family doctor right now is impossible. The waiting list, I've been told, is 3 years. And every month you have to contact them to be re-added to the list to make sure that you remain on the list. It's nuts. And a lot of people are saying it's because of the privatized hospitals. Doctors are all for it because they'll make more money in the end. Civilians are not for it because we can barely afford to pay attention. Imagine having to pay for medical bills on top of all the taxes we get up here in Canada, like carbon tax, sales tax, income tax, property tax. No matter what you do, you get taxed. You own property, you get taxed. You buy a car, you get taxed. You sell the car, you get taxed. And the other person gets taxed. Sell your house, capital gains tax. Somebody passes away in your family and you get all their inheritance, capital gains tax. Like, it's insane how much money the government gets in taxes, yet now they want to privatize things and make us pay more, but they're not going to alleviate those taxes. Kind of dumb, don't you think? 2CV Bloke says, well, at least you figured out where the stuff is coming from, though nothing will beat a foundry torch. I miss seeing the late Aussie 50 burning stuff with his. That thing was intense. What he's referring to is the video where I put Dirty Bird to sleep, and then I realized there was a package on my porch, and when I opened it, inside was a propane blowtorch. But not your typical little acetylene small flame. No, this thing threw a ball of fire. It was dope. I can use that to start my campfire in the winter or whenever. I can use that for pretty much anything. Apparently one of the comments said you can use it to take out weeds. Not about to try that, but it's an option. But yeah, I figured out where they were coming from. Turns out on Temu, there's games you can play. And I found a bug with one of the games where it's like, oh, you win a free item, but then you have to do this and you have to do that. And it's like, you got to invite friends and stuff. And I found a little loophole that I've been exploiting, and I didn't realize it worked. And then I realized when stuff started showing up, at first I was like, why is this coming here? Who's sending me this crap? And it was me. It was me sending it to me by playing that game. But it was like 2 months ago or something when I did this. I thought it was just all fake. And nope, sure enough, they ship shit out. Justin4N6 says, Sony has that model plus a crop sensor and a full frame, the ZV-E10 and the ZV-E1. What he's referring to is I talked about a camera that on commenting on comments, last commenting on comments, the R50. And yes, I have looked at the Sony camera. Apparently the Sony one is better for what I do, like the vlogging and all that. I did look at the ZV-E10. But the only thing I didn't like about the ZV-E10 was there was something that bothered me about it. I can't remember now, because I basically, ever since I got the Google Pixel 9, I've been like, you know what? I'm just going to use my phone. Screw it. I'll figure it out. A lot of quirks with this phone that I don't like, but once again, Justin4N6 says that mount you made, this is also a comment from commenting on comments, the mount you made, which is... I made another one. I don't know where I put it. This mount here, this gray thing, basically it allows you to hook a tripod up to a GoPro Quick Connect. I 3D printed that because I couldn't find anything similar to it on Amazon or anywhere else. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make my own. I found it on Amazon, GoPro buckle, 1/4 to 20 mount. Buckle to 1/4, 20 mount. It's not GoPro made, but it's third-party brand. See, when I looked on Amazon, I couldn't find anything. Now, keep in mind, I made that, I printed that over the summer. I've had that mount for like 6 months now, and it's been holding up. So, kudos. But yeah, I'm gonna look on Amazon and see what they got on there just to get an idea. Sir Kashopin Plays, I probably said your name wrong and I do apologize. He says hello, and I say, how's it going, bud? Fort Erie Rock says, sell boat, repaint Trans Am. Everybody wants me to sell the boat. And honestly, I'm kind of contemplating it, because I always fish alone. I literally just use the kayak. Like I see no point in launching a 16-foot boat for just me, myself, and I. I'd be better off with like a little 12-foot boat just for me, myself, and I. Even a 10-foot John boat with like a 5-horse on the back would be more than enough to go on Trout Lake and skunk on fish. Miles Beyond the Past says, I got the R50 a while back and love it. Grab it if you get the chance. See, I love technology. I like buying new tech gadgets. It's an addiction. Some people do heroin. I like technology. I'm bad for that. It's why I have like all these computers and shit. I see pretty things. I want them. I get them. I got to get away from doing that. I really do. I don't really need the camera. I plan on using my cell phone for a lot of the filming. It does a decent enough job for the type of videos I make. I don't do any pro stuff, obviously. Look, you can tell. Well, except for the fact that I got a green screen behind me and there's a animation going on and junk. But like when I'm doing my regular videos, they're pretty 29 quality. 29? Sorry. They're 2009 quality. Wow. Anyway. 2009, my format hasn't changed at all since I started vlogging, and I just don't see the point in trying to redo it and trying to up the quality any higher. The R50 sounds cool, it looks cool, but my cell phone's lighter, easier to carry around with me. I stuff it in my pocket and we're good to go. Would the R50 be good for like these types of videos, commenting on comments? More than likely, 100%. I wouldn't doubt it. But right now I got everything set up on my phone to work fine, sort of. And yeah, we're just gonna roll with that. Chalks 2001 says, no invoice, start to write down all the items ordered, then you know it's not a gift from an ex or an admirer. Wow. I don't think any of my exes or admirers would send me gifts. No, wait, definitely not exes, but I've had people send me stuff and it's been on the videos. My cousin sent me a cow mug a while ago. I had people, actually a lot of cow mugs. I've had 3 cow mugs sent to me so far. A couple shirts from subscribers who knew where I lived because they've been here, that I've talked to in person. I don't do a P.O. box. I don't do any of that. I tried it in the past and it literally just got slammed with junk. Like, people were signing me up for magazines and like a whole bunch of like spam and ads and just junk. So I was like, you know what? I'm paying $100 or $120 a year just to get a mailbox filled with junk mail. That's dumb. And I shut it down and realized, why should I be asking you guys, who are probably struggling as well financially, to send me free shit? That doesn't make, so I can make a video on it. I don't know. I never liked any YouTuber's mailbox video. Like, every time I see that, I don't watch them. Like when Kid Behind a Camera would do them, friggin' McJuggernuggets back in the day when I used to watch him, he would do them. All these people would do them and I just never cared for it because who cares? Then I did it and I'm like, why would, I realized pretty quickly that I'm doing what I don't like watching. So why am I doing it? So I stopped. And also $120 a year for a mailbox so that trolls can just send a bunch of junk mail there. Yeah, I'm good. Mike Deshane 3919 says, I've been receiving packages from UPS very early in the morning. Like you mentioned, 4 or 5 a.m. over 6 months now. I don't think it's related to the postal strike or Christmas. Yeah, in case anybody's not aware, in Canada right now, Canada Post is on strike, and both Purolator and FedEx have joined in, sort of. They've ceased all packages from third-party companies. They'll still take packages from, like, if you go to Purolator, for you guys in the US, that's a courier company, not an oil filter company. If you go to Purolator with a package to ship it out, they will ship it. But if you're like a company that uses a third-party courier service to acquire the package and then ship it out, they've denied that completely. That's not gonna happen. But as far as receiving packages at UPS very early in the morning, I've been receiving packages upwards of 11 o'clock at night from Dragonfly. Dragonfly is the old Intellicom from Amazon. Amazon has their own shipping company up here, and they've been dropping stuff off anywhere from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. I couldn't believe it. Like, the one day I'm sitting there, what the hell was I doing? I think I was just watching YouTube, and then all of a sudden I hear a chime because somebody's at the back door, and I'm like, what the hell? So I go check. I check the video feed on the TV in the studio and have it pull up the event that occurred, and yeah, somebody dropped off a packet. I'm like, what the heck? Okay, couldn't believe it. I'm like, but I guess right now Dragonfly is swamped because Canada Post is on strike, so Amazon is literally pushing everything through Dragonfly. And you got to be careful when you buy on Amazon, because if it's not Prime, it could be coming through one of the other courier services and being sold privately, not through an Amazon distributor or fulfillment center. That's the proper term. All I know is this strike needs to end because it's killing a lot of businesses. It's bad. Ozman Come to the says, drunk Temu orders. Ha. No. See, so far this year, I've been drunk 3 times. Once in the summer at that block party. Not really drunk at my friend Amy Lee's when I went over there and we played Cards Against Humanity. I didn't get super hammed then. I just had a couple beer. And then at the Cambridge Conference Center for the martial arts gathering, I don't even know what to call that. I got drunk like no other off of mead. Oh, it was bad. And I plan on getting drunk on New Year's Eve, so whatever. Shades23 says, I had Dragonfly delivered to my house in BC at midnight and 11:45 the next day. Things are a mess without Canada Post. I even got packaged today from Canpar. I didn't even know they were still in business. I didn't even know Canpar was still in business. I was actually surprised when, what the hell was that? DWL or DL? I can't remember the name of the company, but I saw their truck rolling around and I'm like, you guys still exist? But Canpar, that's another one that I haven't heard of. And I saw their delivery trucks roaming around too. But yeah, the 11:45 p.m. Mine was 11 p.m. when the package was delivered. Usually with Amazon, I order something on there, and if I order on Monday, by Wednesday, it's being delivered to my house, and it usually happens between like noon and 3. But Amazon was like, your package is out for delivery, expected by 8 p.m. And I'm like, 8 p.m. came, package didn't show up. I figured, okay, it's not gonna be here. And then all of a sudden it was at 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, I guess Dragonfly is just completely, I know they're hiring in my region right now. There was a post for like 10 more delivery drivers, probably because their warehouse is just swamped and they don't have enough people to haul the crap around. But yeah, that's a thing. Justin4N6 said, should have looked on the fridge for the measuring tape, Adam. I know it would be a pain, but it'd be nice to have American measurements when you mention distances. Yeah, and I keep forgetting that because like, I think there's only 3 countries in the entire planet that still use miles per hour for a speed measurement. Everywhere else is kilometers per hour just because it's easier. But, and Fahrenheit, a lot of people use Celsius, but US is so defiant and they're like, we're gonna stay with Fahrenheit and America speed, America's per hour, right? So problem is I don't know how to convert Celsius to Fahrenheit. I know like 0 Celsius is like 32 degrees Fahrenheit, but beyond that, forget it. Even though like I have, because I'm so used to it now, I heat my house to 68 degrees Fahrenheit because like when I bought the house, the thermostat that was installed was stuck in America mode and I couldn't switch it out. So I just learned Fahrenheit for that. And 68 is a comfortable temperature for me. Not in this room. This room is probably like 7,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's because of all the hardware running. I even have my window open and it's currently minus 13 Celsius. And for you Americas, that there is 8.6 degrees Americas, also known as Fahrenheit. So it's 8 degrees out right now. And I have my window open to try and pump some of this heat out. It'd be really cool if I could actually convert one of the floor vents into like a sucking vent to blow the hot air downstairs and recirculate it, because this house wasn't built right, so it doesn't have proper air circulation. There was a vent up here to pump the hot air down into the furnace and recirculate it. It probably wouldn't kick the gas on as much because like the computer hardware puts out a lot of thermals. Ninja Sun 2 says, auger won't turn when you engage it. It will stall. What could be the cause to that? And this is off of an old video back in the day where I had, I think it was the Yardworks snowblower. I did a lot of work on that one and the auger broke and I ended up having, what was it? Oh, it was one of the pulleys was seized. So when you pull the lever down to engage the auger, make sure, number one, that it's actually releasing the tension on the pulleys. And number two, you may have to split, unless your snowblower has a service hatch where you can just take off a panel, like my old Arians did. You can just take off a panel and expose all of the guts of the snowblower. If you have like a Craftsman, an MTD, Yardworks, Green Machine, Noma, all those with the Tecumseh engine, you're probably gonna have to tilt it up so it sits on the chute because it doesn't split in half. And there's a service panel underneath. I think it's like 6 to 8 bolts holding it on. Pop that off and it should expose the inner guts. Make sure your pulleys are not seized, because what's happening is the belt's grabbing on, it can't spin a pulley, and the engine can't work with that, and it just dies. That's my suggestion. Without physically seeing it, it's hard for me to know. I've gotten pretty good at fixing these little snowblowers lately. I've been doing some like side work with friends to get theirs up and running. I had one friend where they would pull the lever down to make it go forward and it wouldn't, or it would start to move, but the moment there was any sort of resistance, the wheels would stop, but you could hear squeaking. And I knew right away what the problem was the friction plate was just chazzled. So all we did was I just took gasoline on a rag, cleaned the friction plate, and then the friction wheel was able to grab it and it works fine. It was a simple fix, simple fix, because it just got, the friction plate got the friction wheel, friction flywheel. I don't even know what the hell the term is for it, but I had that issue on my old Arians and I fixed it that way there. And then later on, it was doing it again. So I just went on Amazon and bought a friction wheel for it, a new friction wheel, and installed that. And it was perfect. It was back up and running, no problems. So yeah, check your pulleys, bud. And guys, that is all we have for commenting on comments this week. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, click that like button. Any questions, comments, concerns, down below they go. I might be using your comment on the next commenting on comments when that comes out. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. Until next time, peace the frig out.
Sit, stupid, sit. Good dog.